Hello, my name is Mo Jamal, and I am a 2L student at the Maurer School of Law at Indiana University. You're watching Humans of Maurer, the interview series that asks 10 questions to help you get to know your Maurer community. Today, I'm lucky enough to be speaking with Professor Mark Janis. The first question I have for Professor Janis is a very simple one. What is your title at the law school, and how would you describe your job?
So I'm Robert A. Lucas Chair of Law, and I'm the director of the Center for Intellectual Property Research. So I'm involved in, I think, pretty much anything that goes on at the law school that has to do with intellectual property law.
So that's a big reason I want to interview you myself, and I'm sure a lot of 1Ls are interested as well. Obviously, interested in intellectual property, and I think a lot of other IP students would love to see a video like this. So my second question for you is, what is one interesting position you have held in the past?
Pretty much nothing, though I suppose I did work. My first job I had was reshelving books at the public library, which I did for, I believe, $1 an hour. So it is a great job. I loved it. And then another one that might be unusual, I did work very briefly as an engineer right before law school.
Gotcha.
And I worked in this electroplating operation where they had the open baths for electroplating stuff. And the guy who took me around on the first day was showing me all these. And, he said things like, oh, don't go too close to that one. That's the cyanide bath. The fumes will kill you. And so I just thought going to law school is a really good idea. This just sounds really good.
No residual effects then on your health from
who knows, others would have to judge.
The third question I have for you is, what is something you like to do for fun?
Well, if I'm stuck inside, I like to read. I really like to read U.S. history. Outside, everything. I like to play tennis. I like to go kayaking, hiking. I really like, my wife and I really like, when we get away from Indiana, to explore the wilderness in the Northern Rockies. We really like Montana, Northern Wyoming, that area. Anything outside out there is fun.
That's awesome. Any good reads right now?
Any good
reads? Anything you're working on? Any book that?
I am reading a book on Woodrow Wilson, a great big giant biography on Woodrow Wilson, which sounds like it wouldn't be all that interesting in a way, but it's really, really interesting to see some of the parallels to today. Very interesting book. Yeah, Scott Berg, Woodrow Wilson biography.
That's awesome. What would you say is your biggest professional accomplishment?
I think starting up and then building the Center for Intellectual Property Research. We started it in around 2010, 2011 school year. So it's coming up on year 10. And just building that up and all of the components that have been put into place by the team of people we have, the IP theory, the IP clinic, the student programs we have, that has been really something great to be part of.
Awesome. On the same front, what would you say is your biggest personal accomplishment?
So that one clearly would be, my wife and I have raised 3 great kids. They're all educators. So their role now is they think that they need to educate us.
I was gonna say, like, that's almost a trick question if you don't answer them. The next question I have is, so these are some of the ones that I kind of wanted to prod a little bit. So if the legal/teaching profession didn't exist, what do you think you'd be doing for a living?
So I think that, for public consumption, the answer should be like, I have an engineering degree from Purdue, so clearly I would be working as an engineer. The real answer is probably I would be mowing lawns in my hometown. I think that's in all likelihood, relying on my wife, who's smarter than I am.
That's awesome. What is a movie that absolutely everyone needs to see, in your opinion?
That's a hard one. It's the needs to see part that I'm struggling with. So I think since it's this time of the year, we're holiday time of the year, I've got to go with It's a Wonderful Life. It's an obvious answer, but yet it's the right answer.
Do you have any embarrassing anecdotes from your time teaching, or I'll even like if not from your time teaching, from your time as a law student?
Oh, I've got them from my time teaching for sure. So the one that I can tell you about is just, there was the day when I was preparing so intently for the first day of class that I forgot to go. Somebody had to come and get me. So that's the one I can tell you about. There's another one that you might have to censor, but I'll tell you this story, and you can decide whether it can remain or not. So I really early in my career, I was teaching property law, great big 100-person property law class. And the case we were teaching is called Loretto. It's a famous case on takings, physical takings. And it involved this little cable box that was attached to the outside of an apartment. And the defense was it occupies this little tiny, area, so it shouldn't matter. And so we're talking about this case, and I asked this student, she's a great student of mine, and I say, can you summarize the holding of Loretto? And she just didn't even hesitate. She said, yes, size doesn't matter. And 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 everybody's laughing, of course. And I'm standing up there with all these thoughts going through my head, like, did she actually say that, or did I just dream that? Can I respond? How can I respond? Am I not going to get tenure because of this? So I did say, not in this context. And that led to further laughter. And then again, I thought, oh, I shouldn't. I shouldn't have said that. So, but she's not wrong. It is the way to summarize the whole thing. And we laughed about that for years. So she came back to the law school one time and told that story, and we laughed about it again. And so a little embarrassing for both of us. I did go on to get tenure. I don't know whether that showed up in my tenure file or not. So
Did she mean it as a joke, or was it like a slip of the tongue kind of thing?
she says that it slipped out. I couldn't tell because she was a witty, sarcastic person. And when she said it, I thought she might be doing this on purpose. She said no. She said she just blurted it out, and then suddenly she realized what she had said. So
That's awesome.
I still remember the case.
Honestly, I'll remember it because of that now too. What do you like most about working with students? Or do you not like it at all?
No, I mean, everybody says this, oh, I learned so much from the students. You really do. And so the energy that students bring, and just the opportunity I have to learn from you all, smart people, creative, again, energetic people, that is really amazing to me. And I've been doing this for a long time now, and I've taught patent law probably 26, 27 times, and I still find that students bring a different perspective to it that I didn't appreciate even after having gone through this topic all these years. So that's one of the things for sure, that the learning and just getting to know students and what they're up to.
Well, you're welcome. The last question I have for you is, what is one piece of advice you would like to give to current law students?
I think I'd say you've got to approach this profession with just a certain amount of fearlessness. Our profession rewards people who look for growth opportunities, who understand how to innovate, take some risks, and especially when times are uncertain. And so I think that would be my key piece of advice. It's the thing that makes this profession beautiful. It's flexible. And as I say, it rewards innovators. So be fearless, look for growth opportunities would be my advice.
I like that. Well, thank you so much, Professor Janis, for taking the time to do this, especially around the holidays. And thank you to all the viewers for watching Humans of Maurer. Follow along in this series to learn more about other members of the Maurer community.